All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to College Panel NYU Stern, Girls for Business's April event. We are so excited to have you all here with us tonight and so excited to share our wonderful panelists. And with that, I'll introduce myself briefly. I'm Rachel Wang. I'm the founder and executive director of Girls for Business, and I will now pass it over to Ivy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ivy. I am also one of the co-founders and co-director of operations of Girls for Business, and we're so excited for you all to learn from the event today. I'll pass it over to Sophie.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie, and I am one of the co-directors of Outreach here at Girls for Business. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we are so excited to see everyone. I hope you all have been having an amazing weekend, and I will pass it on to Angelica.
Hi everyone, welcome back and welcome to people who haven't been to a Girls for Business event before. I'm Angelica. I'm one of the other co-directors of Outreach at Girls for Business, and we're really glad that you guys took the time out of your day to come today. So just so we know who's here and to kind of warm up a little bit for today's event, could everyone type their name, grade, and where you're from in the chat? So I'm a senior in high school from Maryland, and I'll give you guys a little bit of time to put a little bit of an introduction of yourself in the chat. Huge shout out to people who are in different time zones or like, international students who are taking the time to come today. We really appreciate you guys and all of your support for Girls for Business. So as those responses are coming in and you guys can get sort of an idea of where everyone's from, I'll pass it to Sophie to get us started.
Yeah, so if we can move on to the next slide. Today at the College Panel NYU Stern event, we hope to educate, inspire, and empower all middle and high school girls in pursuing a business career. And obviously, you guys as our participants, we have 4 highly qualified panelists today who will be hosting an engaging and interactive workshop about NYU Stern. Our panelists are part of various degree programs within Stern, which will allow us to get a more comprehensive view of the school. And they'll discuss everything about Stern from their specific degree programs to extracurriculars. And we also have 2 amazing panelists who are recent admits into NYU Stern who will also give their insight on the college application and admissions process. So I'll pass it back to Angelica.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm really appreciating all of the responses we're getting in the chat. Thank you so much for engaging. I'll give a brief rundown of today's event structure. So first, I'll be introducing our organization a little bit, Girls for Business, and sharing our initiatives with you all. Then our panelists will be introducing themselves briefly and sharing their business experiences, as well as speaking on some of their general experiences with NYU Stern. Then you'll get to participate in a 15-minute breakout session of your choice or preference, where each panelist will go further in depth on the details of their specific degree program within Stern. And afterwards, we'll rejoin, take a quick group photo, and ask some of the RSVP form questions that you guys have been sending in, as well as include those 2 admits that we mentioned in that question and answer process, and then end off with some closing remarks. So without further ado, I'll get into a little bit more about Girls for Business. So we are a student-led nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering middle and high school girls interested in exploring business career pathways. We were established in June 2020 and were run by a team of over 100 members and have impacted amazingly thousands of girls worldwide through our platforms. We provide free mentorship, business news, educational virtual events, and engaging resources. And our team hopes to create a platform where girls can find business guidance and establish strong connections with like-minded young women. Girls for Business runs 3 educational programs. Like I mentioned, we do business mentorship, business resource program, and also our business networking program. Our mentorship program is completely free, and we provided business mentorship to over 170 student mentees with our current cycle ongoing. Our resource program has also released over 45 biweekly business newsletters with educational resources and business news. And our community platforms have connected over 4,000 girls from over 60 countries across the globe. And also, before we transition into our panelist introductions later, we just want to give you a brief heads up that we will be taking preference into account on which breakout room you'll be in. So if any specific panelists interest you later on when they're giving their individual introductions, please private message Rachel Wang, your top 2 choices as soon as possible, and we'll try to take your preference into account when we're splitting you off. So now that I've given a brief overview of our event and also our organization, I'll pass it on to one of my amazing outreach coordinators, Anna, to introduce herself and segue to our panelists.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna and I'm an outreach coordinator at GFB. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to come to our event. I'll now pass it on to our panelists to introduce themselves. Pooja, if you could get us started.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, my name is Pooja. Nice to meet you all. I'm a senior at Stern with a BS in business, concentrating in marketing and sustainable business, and a minor in psychology. And you can see some of my work experience and extracurricular activities on the screen. I can go through some of the stuff I've done professionally. I've done marketing at 2 different agencies, and then I was at Accenture this past summer doing consulting, and then post-graduation, I'm going to Wells Fargo as a strategy and planning associate. On campus, I'm involved in a few different things. I'm the co-president for Marketing Society. I'm also a peer mentor. And my specialization is exploration, which means like basically a little bit of everything. I'm also a social impact intern at Stern and really involved with all social impact and sustainability programming. Was one of the co-founders of the Stern Student Council for Gender Equality, leading a partnership with UN Women. I was a research assistant, and I'm also a business and society program guide and teaching assistant. And then a few of my hobbies, I like traveling. I studied abroad while at NYU and was one of my favorite things. I like thrifting, just exploring New York, but I'll hand it off to the next panelist now.
Thank you so much. Next, I'll pass it on to Carol.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carol. I am currently a sophomore at Stern. I'm studying business with a concentration in finance and double minoring in data science and public policy. In high school, I was very much interested in political research and like political advocacy, and saw that kind of as like a natural transition to business since both disciplines are very client focused. And so actually entered Stern as a business and political economy major. So if you also have questions about that program, I'm happy to talk about it. But in terms of some work experiences, I will be joining Morgan Stanley this summer as a investment banking software summer analyst, which I'm really excited about. I'll be working in the media and communications group. Last year, I was a alternative finance intern at Premium Merchant Funding, which is essentially a small loan brokerage firm in Financial District. And I kind of said this in my introduction, but I was very much politically involved in high school. So worked on a number of political campaigns. And I thought that that was very much formative for my interest in learning more about campaign financing and how public policy ties to business. In terms of my involvement extracurricular wise, I'm currently the alumni relations director and analyst in Stern's investment analysis group. We are the only real money investment fund on campus. So if you're interested in actually investing a portion of Stern's endowment into any kind of stock that you want to pitch, we're definitely the club to join for that. I'm also an executive committee member at NYU Finance Society, essentially kind of the pre-professional investment banking recruiting club on campus. And I also was briefly involved in social impact fellows last year. Here are some of my hobbies. I play violin, I write music, and I like reading legal and political history books in my free time. Really happy to answer any questions and try to be helpful in any way I can. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Carol. Next, I'll pass it on to Yeonjae.
Hey everyone, so nice to meet you. My name is Yeonjae Shin. I'm a freshman at NYU Stern. I am double majoring in finance and data science. I'm minoring in BEMT, which is business of entertainment, media, and technology. I was looking forward to be a music business minor. However, my advisor confirmed that that is not possible. So as an alternative, I chose the business of entertainment, media, and technology. I'm 100% satisfied with that. I'm taking like music business contract courses, and I'm taking this whatever entertainment media industry course, and it's really amazing. And those are some of my work experience. I'm an incoming investment banking summer analyst at Mirae Asset Global Investments. And I'm also an NYU International Student Ambassador at CampusReel. CampusReel is like a online platform where college students upload their daily life. So I'm just making vlogs to make money in NYU. I'm also a business executive at Kachi, which is NPO NGO based in South Korea, US, Canada, and Hong Kong. And I've also interned at the Global Partnership Department at Junior Chamber International, which is also a and as extracurricular, I'm currently in investment project at Smart Women Securities, which is one of NYU's club. And during my senior year of high school, I won a silver prize and $5,000 grant at Samsung Human Tech Paper Award. And those are my high school experience. And my hobbies are yachting. Like, I don't have a yacht. Please hit me up if you have a yacht because I would love to drive it for you. I just got a yacht operating license, so yeah, please hit me up. I love playing jazz piano. I was actually a jazz piano major throughout my middle school and high school. Unfortunately, I broke my wrist. So, like 3 months before college application, I had to change my major to business. So it was a quick transition, and I would love to talk more about like how my transition was and what I felt throughout the transition. And if you have any question regarding career choice, I would be happy to talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, I'll pass it on to Natasha.
Hi, I'm Natasha, and I'm in business, technology, and entrepreneurship at Stern. I'm also like a freshman, and I'm looking to minor in computer science. It's a little bit like easier for me to minor in comp sci because with all the BT requirements, like two of the courses already like require BT, so that would be easy for me. And a lot of people are also doing that. So if you're looking more into tech, like I could definitely talk more about it. And for work experience, I got to be the innovation consultant at the per diem startup last semester, where I was like working with the design sprint for the BTE, and it was really fun. I could talk more about it, about UX, UI, and going to do the customer like discovery research. And for extracurricular activities in Stern, I am the freshman liaison in the Stern Business Analytics Club, or BAC. And we did about the regression models and also received like mentorships from them. I'm also the mentee in the NYU Blockchain and FinTech Club, and I learned like the basic of blockchain, and it's like easier for me to transition into like other teams, like development team or like case team where you just like research about blockchain. I'm also currently the social media manager at the Founders Challenge. It's kind of like a hub or the community for student entrepreneurs, since there are now a lot of like student entrepreneurs in Stern, so we're trying to like foster a community here. I'm also the event organizer for an MBT, where I just like host workshops and also help communicate with other people in the program. And for hobbies, I love swimming, even though I could not do that in New York, but I'm very excited to go swimming again this summer. I also love like mystery or like thriller novels, so if you want to talk about that, I'm definitely down.
Thank you so much, Natasha, and also to the rest of our panelists for just sharing more about yourselves. To our attendees, if you haven't done so already, please send Rachel your top two preferences for breakout rooms if you have one, or if you're interested in a specific field like technology or media. But now we'll go ahead and transition into our breakout room sessions, where you'll spend 15 minutes with one of our panelists just to learn more about their degrees and also about Stern and the programs and activities they have to offer. You should be seeing a pop-up to join a breakout room soon. And we hope
just a quick word about the RSVP questions. We know that some of our panelists included question and answer sections in their presentations. If you guys could refrain from that, that would be best, because we will have a full Q&A session afterwards. That's all I wanted to add. Sophie, you can continue.
Perfect. So yeah, Rachel, if you want to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms, you guys can join your breakout rooms.
Okay, gotcha. I'll be just a few moments assigning everyone into the breakouts, but the invitation to join should pop up in the next couple minutes or so.
Okay, awesome. And just as a quick reminder for our attendees, if you guys could turn on your cameras just to promote engagement and also to show our wonderful panelists that you guys are attentive and listening. And again, like Angelica said, if you have any questions, be sure to save it for our Q&A session after, so everyone can kind of get to hear our panelists' insight all together.
Okay, I think everyone has been assigned, so rooms will be opened starting now.
Like a yes or yes. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna kind of go through this pretty quickly because I feel like some of this is self-explanatory, or you can kind of find it on the Stern website. And then I know they said to refrain from questions, but if you have questions that are specific to my experience or specific to marketing or sustainable business, I do want to leave time at the end for that, because I know some of the other Q&A is like a little bit more general. So like anything that's like that I guess only I could speak about rather than the other panelists. So I'll start with Stern degrees and programs. So as an undergraduate, you have an option of going into 5 different programs. I would say the most popular one and the one that I'm pursuing is a BS in business. So that means basically on your diploma, you graduate from Stern with a degree in business, and then you get concentrations. And you can also choose to take a minor within Stern or outside of Stern. My minor is from CAS, the College of Arts and Sciences. And then besides the BS in business, there's a BPE program, which requires 2 semesters of study away, which is something that's unique to it. And then the BTE program is relatively new, but really cool. I know some people in it and they've really enjoyed it. The BS MS program, I would say, is one of like the only programs where you can graduate with an undergraduate and a master's degree in 4 years plus a summer. And then finally, the BFA program is a combination between or a collaboration between Stern and Tisch. And if you like don't want to pursue a degree in that and you also want to like take a minor, there's the BEMT program, which I think stands for Business of Entertainment, Media and Technology, which is also a collaboration between Stern and Tisch. And I have a lot of friends pursuing that minor, and they've all loved it because the classes are really cool for that. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what marketing and sustainable business are like at Stern. So starting with marketing, a few of the required courses are classes like Intro to Marketing, Consumer Behavior, Research for Consumer Insights. And then I would say the electives for marketing are really fun. There's like movie marketing, brand strategy and planning, which is actually taught by one of our former deans. And also like entertainment marketing, luxury marketing. I took a class that I think is no longer offered, but there's something similar that was dynamics of the fashion industry. So the electives get like really creative. And then sustainable business, I would say, is the concentration that I enjoyed a lot personally, and is a lot more connected to my professional interests. But the required course for that, there's only one, and it's called Sustainability for Competitive Advantage. And the way sustainable business is sort of set up is it's kind of like a complementary concentration to other concentrations. So it was only, I think when I came into Stern, it was the first year that it was offered as like a solo concentration. Before that, you had to take it with another concentration. So the classes are actually really interesting, and you can pair it really well with other concentrations. For example, I'm really interested in consulting. So one of the electives I could take was sustainability consulting in Costa Rica. And we actually traveled to Costa Rica for that and worked with a company on site there. And then another class that I'm actually a TA for this semester is social entrepreneurship. But some of the other classes you can take are marketing for impact, which is actually led by someone who actually owns their own impact focused advertising agency. There's also I think there's like an impact investing one. So if you're interested in the intersection of sustainability and finance, so I would say like the fun is really the electives, and you can kind of just have your pick at what you want. Normally they require you to take like 3 to 4 electives, and you can really like figure out what track you want to take with that. And that was my favorite part of my 2 concentrations. And then another way to kind of take what you were learning in class and apply it more hands-on or get some more like professional insight into it is through clubs and programs at Stern. So I've been involved with a few of these clubs. Like I've mentioned, I'm actually the co-president of Marketing Society right now, but I'm a mentor for USWIB, was really involved with Net Impact when I was a freshman. I lead the Social Impact Fellowship Program. I did SPUR, and I have been to a few of the events hosted by the Stern Center for Sustainable Business. But I can go into a little bit more detail about these clubs. So the ones that are more, I would say, like marketing focused, maybe would be obviously Marketing Society. LARA is the Luxury and Retail Association. They have really cool events. They just recently had their boot camp series where they bring in speakers every day of the week from different fashion houses. I think we collabed with them last semester and brought in Tiffany, and it was a really cool event. USWIB is a more general club. It stands for Undergraduate Stern Women in Business. So they kind of bring in speakers and host events that touch a lot of the most common career paths in Stern. Also a great opportunity for underclassmen to sort of form their community and find mentors in Stern. And then the Stern program for undergraduate research is basically sponsored by the Dean's Office, and different professors from different fields will sort of sponsor a project. I did 2. I think I did one that was sponsored by marketing, and it was more focused on media and gender equality. And then I did one that was sponsored by the management and organization department. And I worked with Professor Taylor Phillips, who's really good, and did more, I think it was a project on meritocracy in sports. Both really cool opportunities to, one, connect with some really cool professors, but also just get some hands-on experience on what research looks like. And then I could touch on some of the more sustainable business focused clubs. So Net Impact would be the biggest club from Stern. They have a lot of different programs. One of their programs is like a sustainability consulting one, which is really cool, and it's called NICE. The Social Impact Fellowship Program. So like I mentioned, I did this program my freshman and sophomore year, but now I lead the program as a guide, as well as just like the coordinator for it. And I work with first years. They also offer this for second year, and they have 2, I believe, programs for juniors and seniors. It's a really cool way to kind of get hands-on experience. The freshmen right now are working in teams to create their own social venture or solution to one of the UN's sustainable development goals. And we just went this past Friday to the UN headquarters for a tour. So really great opportunity to sort of learn more about sustainable business within Stern, as well as outside of Stern. And their closing session is going to be this week, and the judges for all their presentations and ventures are from the UN and from BCG and other consulting firms. So it's a lot of great exposure. And then one of the other clubs, which is like the circle logo with the bridge, is called Bridges for Enterprise. And we have a few different clubs like that. You may have also heard of like 180 Degrees Consulting, which are essentially student-led organizations that do pro bono consulting. So they work with like small organizations and offer them like free consulting advice and sort of help them create more impact. And those clubs, I wish I was more involved in that as a freshman, but are really great for sort of actually working on a project and getting hands-on experience and seeing how like stuff you learn in school could be applied in a real world situation. And then finally, Stern Center for Sustainable Business. They're like extremely well-known, renowned, produce a lot of great research, but also hold a lot of great events. And they do an event called Sustainability Bootcamp, which is really interesting. And it's led by Tansy Whalen. If you don't know about her, you should look her up. She's really cool. And I would say that's one of my favorite parts about being at Stern is that when you look at business schools across the board, Stern is a pioneer in social impact, and kind of we we have impact, and social impact is one of our pillars, and you sort of have to touch it at some point as a freshman. You're required to take a class that's called Business and Society. I'm one of the guides for it, and it basically just like gives you an introduction as a freshman on how business and social impact should be incorporated, and kind of like you embark on your Stern journey with that sort of frame in the back of your mind that business is not only for, creating shareholder value or generating profit, but it's also to help all of its stakeholders and sort of create more good in the world than it does bad, which is something I really appreciate about my educational experience at Stern. And I know I'm just like throwing a lot at you right now, so if you have any questions, let me know. I can stop for a second right now. Any questions? If you don't want to unmute, you can leave them in the chat too. Okay, I'm going to keep moving forward then. So I thought if I was in your shoes, maybe this would be a little helpful about what I did prior to getting into Stern and what I'm doing now at Stern. So before I got into Stern, I, like, transparently speaking, sort of knew what my strengths were, and they were not academic. Like, I was in honors and AP classes, but I was not one of those students with like a 4.0 or like straight A's. So I think I sort of focused on what I thought would help me the most, and that was one, my leadership skills. So I sought out experiences that were out of my comfort zone. I was in a lot of roles where I had to manage teams of people and create deliverables, really involved with student government, with our community service organization in high school, and became comfortable with public speaking. So not only would I speak at like clubs, but like in our meetings with our class, like speaking in front of the entire school and in front of the high school. So I became really comfortable with speaking publicly. But in addition to that, I remember I did a few programs outside of school to gain more hands-on experience. So I did one program with junior achievement my sophomore year, I believe, where I went to like a business and like worked on their side, and I was on the sales team. So that was a really good experience. But then the summer before my senior year of high school, I did this program called Lead, and we essentially worked on a business during the program, but also had like lectures. We went on corporate visits. I remember we went to DC, companies in DC, Philly, and New York. And like, I remember touring the American Express office. We went to like Goldman Sachs, we went to JP Morgan. And that was really cool for me, because that was like the first time I was seeing how business sort of operates in the real world, like outside of just like hearing about it. And it really piqued my interest in the field. And then I also did take on some jobs that were related to my interests. So I was like a marketing intern at this like local small business near my high school. I also worked like a few service jobs. So I worked at and worked retail as well. I worked at Free People as a stylist. And I think that was also something that for me, I thought really like boosted my like experience and just being able to work on teams, but also like deal with the uncertainty of that job. Like, you never know what's going to happen every day. And I think that was something that was really helpful in just shaping me. And I also included that in my application, that I did some of these. And then finally, I spent time assessing my strengths because, like I mentioned, I was in a lot of like AP and honors classes, and I was like, I did pretty well at school, but I didn't have like that amazing GPA where I was like, okay, my GPA is going to get me into like my top choice school. So instead, I used leadership and extracurriculars and tried to balance my strengths with my weaknesses. And then moving on to what I did at Stern. So the first, and I would say most important thing, was keeping an open mind. And I think I noticed this as soon as I came to Stern, but there's a narrative of finance, of like consulting, of tech. And it's kind of hard to like not get wrapped up in all of that and not feel pressured to sort of take the track that everyone's taking. But I sort of ensured that I kind of like zoned out during that process, like especially welcome week, the first few months of Stern, and sort of like stuck to the plan I kind of came into Stern with, that like these are my interests. I'm going to explore everything that's of interest to me. I'm going to go to all the different clubs. I'm going to coffee chat people. I'm going to figure out what I like to do, and it's okay if what I like to do is not what everyone else wants to do, which oftentimes is like IB or like project management. And then also there tends to be, because you're going to a competitive school, there tends to be a lot of competition, because especially underclassmen, you have limited internships. Everyone wants the same internship. So it's hard to not get sucked into that. And I think that also helped me with like feeling okay with my own journey. And then the second thing I did is further develop my leadership skills. So I was in a lot of clubs. I sort of figured out what clubs I liked, and then I joined eBoards. And then I realized we don't have a lot of time left, stayed connected, networked with alumni, and then made mentors on and off campus, also at firms that I was interested in. But okay, we have 40 seconds. If you have like a quick question, I'm happy to answer it. If not, the general questions. Or actually, I'll say this, since we don't have time, feel free to follow up with me on LinkedIn if you have any specific questions to anything I just mentioned and is not mentioned during the general Q&A session. I'm happy to offer any advice.
Great, thank you so much, Pooja. And yes, all of the panelists' informations will be put on the last slide of our closing presentation, so no worries for that. And breakouts are closing in just a couple of seconds, so we'll meet you guys in the main room. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I think everyone has returned from breakouts. So, Angelica, I will pass it back to you.
All right, hopefully everyone is back. Hold on, I'm going to stop my recording really quickly. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, especially to all of our speakers who just led all of the breakout rooms. I'm sure I can speak for all of us that we really, really enjoyed hearing all of your insights and all of your perspectives on your specific majors and programs. So thank you so much. Before we start the main Q&A section for everyone, we wanted to take a quick pause to take a Zoom group picture. So for everyone who's here, we would really appreciate it if you could turn on your camera, and Rachel will be taking 2 photos. I'll count down from 3 when you're ready, Rachel, but let me know. Girls for Business does post event recaps on our Instagram, LinkedIn, and we also release articles with like event recaps from our writing team. So if you're interested in being, I guess, tagged or mentioned, feel free to leave your Instagram handle because we do that. But if everyone has their cameras on, Rachel, let me know when you're ready to take the photo.
Okay, perfect. Let's take just a couple more moments for everyone to open their cameras. I'll pause the recording.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. As I mentioned, if you are interested in leaving your Instagram handle just to connect and also to be tagged in the Girls for Business recap photo on Instagram, feel free to do that in the chat. But we will now be transitioning to our Q&A section. If we could have the screen share back on, that would be great. And I'll pass it to Sophie to introduce our admits.
Yeah, perfect. So before we get started with questions, we did want to introduce our 2 other panelists today who have recently been admitted into NYU Stern. So moving on to the next slide, I will pass it on to Saisha to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Saisha and I'm an incoming freshman at NYU Stern, and I'm going to be majoring in business and political economy, so it's also known as BPE. And some of my extracurriculars I'm involved in right now in high school are I'm a co-founder and the chair of operations at Helpful Paw, which is a volunteer animal organization, and I'm also a team lead and peer tutor at the NC Virtual Public School organization. And I'm also the president of International Business Club, and I'm a lead teen and volunteer for my town teen council. And I'm also a global economy blog writer for NCBPS. And some of my hobbies are listening to music, building Legos, and I also enjoy talking about philosophy and history. So yeah, and my email is there if you ever have any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saisha. And now I will pass it on to you, Sabiata, to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Saviata. I'm also an incoming freshman at Stern. I will be majoring in BS in business, most likely going to do concentrations in finance and entrepreneurship, but I'm still figuring that out. And for my work experience in high school, I was the founder and CEO of a student-led organization called Reef Relief, and where we worked to essentially combat the coral degradation issues in Hong Kong. I did many internships. I was a data intern at Trademo, which is a global finance company, and I was an advocacy filmmaker at Nature Science Initiative, which is a nonprofit in Dehradun in India. For my extracurricular activities, I was involved in the Kids for Kids Advocates Leadership Team, which is a student leadership team here in Hong Kong at a local NGO. And I hosted their Youth Summit, which is an entrepreneurship pitching contest. And I'm also this year the founder and CEO of Ohana, which is a student-led organization, once again, that takes uniforms and upcycles them into different products. Some of my hobbies are songwriting, playing volleyball, and trying new kinds of matcha. I'm really excited to do that in New York, and chasing sunsets. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have. I know this process was very stressful to get through last year or earlier this year. Yeah.
Thank you so much both for sharing just your experiences and a little bit more about your background. So we'll go ahead and turn screen sharing off now so we can get into answering some questions. To maintain a sense of interactivity between the panelists and all of us, we would really appreciate it if everyone turned their cameras on and kept them on for the duration of the Q&A session. So yeah, I will pass it on to Angelica to get us started with some RSVP questions.
All right, thank you so much, Sophie. So we'll be starting off with some of the questions that you guys had from our RSVP form. To all of our panelists, feel free to just answer or add on to any questions that speak to you that you feel like you can provide insight on. And to all of our attendees here, we'll also be taking live questions. So feel free to type any questions you have into the chat specific to you that you'd like to be answered soon as well. So Anna, Sophie, and I will be alternating RSVP questions as they're answered. But right now, just starting off with one of our most popular questions, just from the RSVP form in general, is why did you pick NYU? And I know this is different for everyone, so if each panelist could take a second or just a brief period of time to answer this question, that would be really appreciated. And we can start off with Pooja, if that's okay, and popcorn around.
Yeah, sure. So I knew I wanted to do business before going into college. So I think I chose NYU because of Stern's reputation and the quality of education I'd receive. Second, I grew up in like a suburb of Philadelphia. So I was only applying to city schools, and there's no better city to be in than New York City. And then finally, I think it was also the opportunity to study abroad through NYU and how global NYU is with its presence in different countries, but also the student body.
I can go. So for me, first thing was city, second thing was Asian parents. So first, city, I was born and raised in Seoul, South Korea. It's like very, very urban area. Like everything, like you could literally get sushi delivered in your door at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I wanted to go somewhere that I can order Uber Eats at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. So that's why I chose city. Like everything is within 1 hour distance with train. And I can go to amusement park. I can go to Broadway to watch amazing musicals. I could just walk for like 3 minutes and there's Taco Bell and there's like boba place and everything. So that was the first reason. And second reason, Asian parents. And also as an Asian, I care about ranking, to be honest. and Stern was second best school for finance in US. And also, I had a friend who also was in Stern. He was a sophomore when I was applying to school, and he gave me this amazing chat that he really loved in Stern, and all of his friends who were in like foreign farm area really hated their life. So I wanted to enjoy a college life. That's why I chose Stern.
I'm happy to go next. I think like my story is a little bit different than like most people at Stearns because I actually wasn't planning to do business when I was in high school. But I did kind of apply to a few business schools because I was kind of interested in expanding my horizons a little bit. Like I was very politically involved in high school, but had been a little bit disillusioned by politics towards the end of my high school career. And so I kind of wanted to transition into something. Ended up getting into Stern for the business and political economy program initially. And so it was between, for me, it was between NYU and Carnegie Mellon. And ultimately, I think I chose NYU because I was able to have that political aspect of continuing my education. And also what drew me was how incredibly easy it was to study abroad. I went to London last semester and had a really great time. And I think that it's really it really is important, right, to have a school that has a really global network and it's just really easy to go to a different country. It's a fantastic experience almost for everyone and very formative for me. And ultimately, like since I've come to Stern, like I've really seen how incredibly beneficial it is to have a school that has a really good reputation. I mean, I'm entering the finance like world now, and like it is really important, I guess, to kind of have that Stern name and have a wide alumni network to be able to coffee chat with, and ultimately kind of help you recruit in that direction. And so I think professionally, it was also a very, very good decision as well.
I can go next. So for me, I chose Stern, or like specifically for BTE, the Business Tech and Entrepreneurship program, because I'm interested in all like the business, tech, and also entrepreneurship. So I really like all three of the aspects. So like this is like the perfect program for me. And I really enjoyed my time here so far. So I think I made the right choice. And I also chose NYU because of the community. So as an international student, I'm from Thailand. So I joined like the virtual information session when I was like back home applying for my like college applications. I didn't even get to visit like Stern, like NYU before actually coming here. So I really like the vibes and like the people, the admissions like ambassadors. They're really nice, and I feel like I really click with them. And I feel like I could be surrounded with like this type of people. So I think that's what like a big factor for me. And yeah, I just like really like the people in general. And I feel like that could be something that you could do to help like, you decide which college you want to go to. Just join like the virtual information session or just like the student panel. And then you just really like be able to tell that if you really like the community here or not.
I'd be happy to go next. So for me, actually, I always wanted to go to school in the West Coast, but over the winter of my senior year, I actually visited NYU. And I think that's what really made the decision for me. One thing that I was always actually worried about, and maybe some of you guys have the same concern, is that NYU doesn't have a campus, but going to actually visit, the community was still so strong, and you couldn't really feel that there wasn't a campus that united everyone. I also got to visit Stern and the Leslie E Lab, which is where Snapchat and Etsy were created. So there was a lot of physical inspiration to also drive me to apply. And then another main reason was being in New York. I think that I'm someone who's very indecisive, likes to do a lot of things. So I wanted to be in a place where if I wanted to try out different things along with business, I could be in a place where I'm supported in that and I have opportunities to excel in any field that I want to. And New York was a place to sort of take a step into the real world while still being at university. And I really enjoyed that.
I can go next. So for me, I chose NYU because of the global exposure that comes with like just being at NYU, and also like for my major, like business and political economy, we get to go to like London and Shanghai in our second year. So I thought that the global exposure aspect is like really like appealing to me. And also like NYU as a whole is a very diverse like community, and I wanted to like get that like experience as well. I think it's just very helpful like for like just as a person and also like in the future like for our careers. So that's why I chose NYU. And I also just like the city obviously because it's just like because like in the city, I mean obviously as everyone else has said, like you can choose like to do a lot of different things, and there's a lot of um like exposure that you get like just being in New York City. So I really like that as well.
Thank you so much. Our next question is kind of involving about like tips for writing essays. So mainly, what are some overarching themes or narratives or prompts that are like common and very like frequently seen? Yeonjae, if you could start for us.
I'm not sure if I fully understood the question. So do you want me to speak about the prompt that's given by Common App, or do you want me to speak about my experience?
Both could be great.
Okay, so I don't exactly remember, but what I chose from Common App was, what was the challenge you overcame throughout your life? I think that was the prompt that I chose for my Common App essay, which applies to every single college. That goes into every single college you apply, that one essay. And what I did was I didn't actually have like a really big, challenge that I had to overcome throughout my life. Like none of my family members passed, and I was like living a very happy, stable life. So what I came to realize was that the challenge does not have to be something really big. It doesn't have to be your financial crisis in your family. It doesn't have to be like someone in your family like passing, or it doesn't have to be like very, very actually like challenging event for yourself. So what I did was, I remember in middle school, I was really active student. I was a president of student body. I was doing like various events. One day I dyed my hair pink, and my teacher cut my hair. Literally, she brought a scissor and cut my hair, which like the portion was pink. So I was like, what? So I was trying like to rebel. I was trying to talk to the principal. I was trying to, make a union of students who wants to wear makeup and who wants to dye their hair. But what I came to realize was, change doesn't occur overnight. You have to have a plan, thorough plan that you can implement over time that is actually reachable. So that was the huge theme of my college application essay, that how I came to realize that change is not made overnight, and not everything is white and black. There is a gray area and there are shades of gray. So that was my overall Common App college application essay. Any one of you?
Thank you so much. I think we can also try to direct this question towards our recent admits, because they are very knowledgeable in the current process. So Saisha or Sab, if you'd like to answer, you can also go ahead on this question.
So I'll just say that for my Common App essay, I just kind of wrote about like my progress like as like an individual, as opposed to like not just academically but overall, because I moved from New Jersey to North Carolina when I was in 7th grade. So I just talked about like how that has impacted me and like helped me grow as a person. And I think that like just when you write your Common App essay, just try to like show your development, like as, and don't just like talk about like what you've achieved, but like how that has affected you as like personally. And also just the note that like the NYU like essay is optional. So really consider if you need to answer that question or not, because you don't want to just repeat what you said in your Common App essay. So like it's optional for a reason. So like just like think about whether that like the question has been addressed like in your other essay or not, and then choose if you want to answer that or not. So, yeah.
Okay, I think for me, I'd be happy to share my essays, by the way, if you guys want to reach out afterwards, but my Common App was about my experiences sailing when I was younger, because my dad is a container ship captain. And so I was sailing around with my family, and I thought that I would talk about that just because it's something that
would set me apart. And I'm sure you've heard of like the, oh, if you lost your essay in a pile of papers, someone could pick it out and know that it was you. So I was really just trying to find something that set me apart than most other applicants. And I talked about my experience basically being on this boat in the middle of the ocean where all these cultures came together, and NYU is so huge on diversity. So I'm sure that would have helped. And for my NYU specific essay, I actually talked about love and leadership as two ideals which don't always go together, but my school actually has a core value of love. So I talked a little bit about that, and then the difference between like artistry and how we value emotions in artistry, and then in business where oftentimes that's not the case. So for me, actually, it ended up being that the Common App prompt that I chose was pretty much exactly the same. It was a diversity prompt, and then NYU had the diversity prompt. So like Saisha was saying, it was tough to find something that was different to talk about in both essays. But I think that if you sort of reflect a little bit and start this, at least a reflecting process over the summer before your senior year, then I'm sure you guys will have a lot of interesting stories to tell. I spent a very, very long time actually deciding what I wanted to write for my Common App. So I guess that would be another tip, is get started super early, at least just reflecting and noting down little experiences that have been formative in your life so far.
Thank you so much, Sabiata, for sharing that, and Saisha. For the sake of time, we are going to move on to one last question for our current NYU students, and then we will go ahead with a GFB wrap-up. But our last question is, what advice would you give to high schoolers in terms of figuring out what they want to do in the realm of business? Oh, and we can start with Carol, if you're ready.
Sure. I mean, I think like I kind of talked about this in my breakout room, but I think like for me, figuring out that finance was what I wanted to do was absolutely a result of joining organizations on campus. Like I didn't even know what finance was until I joined like IAG and FS. And I think like it's been absolutely crucial in helping me understand what it is, giving me real world experience, and giving me the mentors that have helped me guide me through like this recruiting journey. And so definitely I say like just join organizations on campus. Don't be afraid to reach out and network with people, learn and chat like whoever you're interested in. And yeah, like just talk to a lot of people, learn their journeys, and you will discover what kind of niche you fall into.
I would second everything Carol said. For once you get into college, I would say prior to getting into college, if you want to explore a little bit, one thing that helped me was doing some programs as a high schooler. So I did a program at Wharton during my summer before my senior year, and then I did a few like local programs through junior achievement. Also just like jobs and getting some like hands-on experience, I think helps a lot. So just trying to increase your exposure as much as possible, because at least for me in my high school, business was not a topic of discussion. So I had to look externally, and just talking to people and like putting myself in jobs and like trying out programs really helped me differentiate the different parts of business, and also realize what I was passionate about and what interested me the most.
I can go next. I really like agree with what you're saying, and I feel like you just have to like explore and just like try new things, and just like don't be scared that, oh, I might not like it, I might not do well in this or that. Like for me, I'm interested in tech, but I'm still in Stern in like a business school, and it's still like going fine for me, and I'm still trying to like explore more by like taking different classes. Like I'm taking the other like business classes as well, like counting, stats. I'm also like taking the web design, trying to learn more about design, and also like coding. Next semester, I'm also taking like fashion class instead. So I'm just like trying to branch out, and I feel like even if you cannot figure it out when you're in high school, you still have that chance to do it in college. So you don't have to like pressure yourself that, oh, I need to figure everything out by the time, because like there's still a lot of chances for you to like explore whether by just like going to like different classes or just like joining different clubs and also like coffee chatting like different peoples. I feel like that helps a lot, and you don't have to look yourself to one thing.
Yeah, I can go. So, as a person who still doesn't exactly know what she wants to do, I don't feel comfortable giving you guys advice. However, my one thing that I figured out is that I wanted to be a product manager. I wanted to be a marketer. I wanted to be a banker. I wanted to be a consultant. But like realistically, it's impossible for me to actually be a product manager and marketer and banker and consultant and then decide, right? So what I did was just I reached out to as many people as I could, talk to them and see if I vibe with them. So that's how I am trying to figure out what I'm interested in. Just talk to as many people in the field as you can. Yeah, that was it.
All right, thank you so much for your answers. I honestly wish we had more time to ask you guys more questions and just get more of your insight, but unfortunately we are nearing the end of our event time. Thank you to our panelists for answering our questions and really just giving your perspectives and your insight on all of these college-related questions. So we'll go ahead and turn the screen share back on and we will share some closing information. So I'll pass it on to Angelica.
Thank you so much to our panelists. Moving on to the next slide, we have our speakers' contact information if anyone would like to reach out later or have questions that we couldn't get to today. So you can reach out via email or connect with them on LinkedIn. And feel free to take a picture of this slide. I'll give about 5 seconds. I'm a huge advocate for LinkedIn. I would say it's one of the best resources that I've used and that I've heard panelists speak on. So, you know, about like networking, coffee chatting, finding people from, I guess, your school and from your general interests, I would highly recommend using LinkedIn as a resource. Hopefully you guys got a photo of that. And we will also be dropping a link to our event feedback form in the chat. We'd really appreciate it if you just take 1 to 2 minutes to complete it, because Sophie and I really appreciate all the input we get on our events and take all of the feedback we get into account. So with your help, we can make future events even better. And finally, wrapping up with a quick Girls for Business plug. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials to stay updated with Girls for Business content, future events that come up, different opportunities that we offer. And for more content on the latest business news and helpful business tips, you can check out our socials, Instagram, LinkedIn, our website at girlsforbusiness.org. As I mentioned earlier, we have event recaps going up on all of our platforms. So if you're currently attending and if you want to be mentioned in an Instagram post, or if you want to network with others here, feel free to leave your Instagram handle in the chat too. Lastly, if you want to get involved with the Girls for Business community, we can go to the next slide. Oh, I think there's a slide here with all of the links and a QR code containing all of those links as well. If you're interested in free business mentorship, we offer one-on-one mentorship from a business college student or business professional for over the course of 10 weeks, organized by our lovely mentorship team. You can also subscribe to our mailing list to receive newsletters featuring the latest news in business, career tips, and business opportunities for high school students. Also, you can join our team at Girls for Business. We're currently accepting applications for select team roles and would love to work with you guys in the future. So anyone looking for an extracurricular, we're always open. And lastly, you can join our community Slack to network with girls with similar interests from all over the world. So that invitation is also in the bottom left-hand corner. So I think if everyone got the QR code here or a photo, that is everything we have from us. And so going on to our next slide, I'll pass it to Sophie just to wrap up.
Yep, thank you so much, Angelica. So this does bring us to the end of our College Panel NYU Stern event. Thank you so much to our wonderful panelists for sharing insight on NYU Stern and just how to apply and succeed in business school in general. We learned so much from you guys, and we thank you for taking the time to speak today. Additionally, a huge thank you to all of our participants for taking the time to attend this event as well, and really just engaging with our panelists tonight. If you have any additional questions or suggestions for GFB, please feel free to stay behind for a few minutes and we'd love to chat with you. For everyone else, I hope you all had an amazing time today, and we hope to see you all again at future GFB events.
Thank you so much, everyone. And have a great evening. Thank you.